So, a very good morning to one and all. I welcome you all to our series of webinars and workshop series of MIT ID. Since last 4 years, as a part of Design Connect program, we are interacting with the design aspirants through various seminars and webinars where experts from the industry share their experience with the young budding designers. This year, we have gone one step ahead by keeping these sessions more interactive and engaging the students to get hands on experience in various areas and topics of design. Today, we have with us industry mentor and academic mentor, industry mentor, Mr. Soumya Ranjan. He is a digital transformation specialist. He is the founder and director of Kusmat Technology, Hyderabad. He has played multiple roles and helped create different processes and pipelines in his company. With expertise in user experience design, service design, interaction design, and strategy, he created holistic solution for client across the technology, logistics, and retail industries. With vast experience, he believed that service experience in an intricate patch work of social, cultural, economic, and environmental observation sewn together by technology. He has served on numerous boards, helping startups make products enjoyable, understandable, and profitable. The same time, we have our academic mentor and HOD of MIT Institute of Design, Immersive Media Design, Professor Shakti Banerjee, sir. Professor Shakti Banerjee, heading Immersive Media Design, has done his master's in communication design from NID. He has carved himself as the finest professional in the field of visual effects, motion graphics, film, broadcasting, advertisement, and print. With experience of for past 25 years, he focuses and believes in cross-media design interventions. He began his career in 1994 with Times of India as a design officer, a print media project for the magazine India Today, New Delhi. At the same time, he then moved to Ramoji Film City, Hyderabad, leading the VFX and animation design department. Sir has also received as a national award in 2000 for best special effects for Kamal Hassan's Hey Ram film. In 2003, Koi Mil Gaya won Screen Filmfare Award for visual effects. He worked at UTV Mumbai on visual effects for several famous TVCs, created visual effects for the 2008 release of the French film Asterix aux Jeux Olympiques, also involved in ZTV rebranding and implementation in 2011. With ZTV Network, his primary expertise includes motion graphics, visual effects, augmented virtual reality and extended reality, and also interaction design. Now, I request Sir to take over the proceedings of the webinar.
Good morning, all. Hi.
Good
I
morning.
think what we are doing actually, so we are actually going to have a very interactive session rather than I'm saying a lot of things and Soumya sir is also there. So we will be actually talking about just sharing my experience as well as we talk about how the things are happening in immersive media design and we talk about immersive media. So I'll just share you and one thing, I'll just share you my screen. So you must have experience in the life, whatever we are doing, right? So what are we now? We are now in this, right? It's all everything on your hand. The interactivity, right from mobile to laptop to anything, that is the world here, right? Now, what we are experiencing, what we are, the data is with us, and it is transforming into now into more of virtual reality, augmented reality, and immersive media, right? We will also talk about this. You must have seen this movie. I'm sure you must have seen Iron Man 3, and you might have realized that how the things has been like created it more virtual, more augmented. Not only that, let me also talk about another film. Are you recognize this film? This is Dunkirk. Now, Dunkirk 2017, and Christopher Nolan is very famous for his very creativity, and he has directed like Batman, Inception, Dark Knight. So this time he has made this Dunkirk, and he has also created a VR movie of that same movie. So I'll show you what we are. You can experience this. Okay. Can you hear the audio? Audio is coming. Okay. So it's a war movie,
We shall go on to the
and
end.
the way the director has depicted the
never
whole
surrender.
situation that time, the evacuation in Dunkirk, and if I see this, I can rotate the camera here. Can you see? I'm just rotating the camera. Okay. You can see hear the audio, right?
Yeah, that's clear.
So now see that how immersive experience you can build up with using such technology, and this is like a full 360 video of that. So isn't it very interesting and isn't it very exciting? And this is the field we are talking about. Let's talk about something more. You must be familiar with this also. What is this? This is Minecraft Earth. And this is also released in 2019, the game which is augmented reality sandbox game. So people are getting so much engaged and they are experiencing the whole world. Now again, once again, what is this? This is your IPL just now happened, and when the commentator is also using this AR technology, and if you see the frame, the from the studio, he's gone into the field. So such kind of things we can imagine, we can do it. So this is what we are talking about, the world we are going towards, and we are doing all that. Let's see. So now this is, if you can guess it, this is the first VR wedding. And this happened in May 25, 2017 in California. And in fact, they were like, they call all the others like avatars, and they have created the whole celebration with using this, the alt space they have created. And in fact, after COVID, a lot of people were actually thinking, but in terms of how to make it do the marriages in a better way in maybe in the virtual world. So we are looking forward, like the world is changing, how we are going to see that change. And of course, this one I think you must be. Are you familiar with this? This is Apple. Apple is coming out with the Google Glass. Sorry, Apple is coming out with the AR glass, and which is actually going to be high resolution glass, and they are coming in 2022. So imagine after 2022, what is going to happen? I think the whole world of mobile and everything will vanish. Another some new wearables things are going to come, right? So now I'm coming to the immersive technology and the immersive media. So right now, what I will talk about is what is actually AR, VR, and MR. What is this immersive technology? And I'll little bit go through the history of that so that you'll understand how the evolution happened and what are the application going to happen with the AR, VR, right? So let's start the journey. So if we see, industry revolution, the first industry revolution happened with the steam, and that happened way back in 1784. After that, there's a industry happened when the electricity came. So that is industry 2. And then when the electronics, computers, automation kind of thing has happened, where that is 1969. That was industry 3. And right now, what we are into is industry 4.0, which is a cyber space where Internet of Things and networks is happening. And this is the point where we need, to manage the data, because we are floating, the data is floating everywhere. And what is immersive technology? It refers to be technology that blurs the line between physical world and digital world or simulated world, thereby creating a sense of immersion. So it can be 3D, 360 space. You interact with that space, right? And what is this, when we talk about immersion, what are those senses? Okay, so there are 5 senses. We have able to see the eye, ear, taste, nose, and then tactile. So with VR, we are mainly using the ear and the sometimes tactile also. So let's talk about what is virtual reality, VR. So VR is the representation of real and imagined world through electronic means, which provides the feeling of being in real situation and where you can interact with its components. Let's have one poll now. We can have one poll. So I would like, we want to see that how many of you are actually into different fields, and as this immersive media, it's a very amalgam of everything. So it is also, there are from different field background, people can be involved with this media. So we have more now design. Yeah, we got design 38%, architecture only 5%. Okay. And others 29%. That's a good number. Okay. So let's proceed. We'll have some other poll questions later on. Okay. So I was talking about virtual reality. Then let's see. So what is augmented reality? Now, augment is like, there's you have in the real world, you augment the virtual world. Like you create something like CG or model, which can be added on to the real world. That is augmented reality. And you must be knowing this Pokemon Go, which is so popular, and all the youngsters, they've been engaged with this. Then what is mixed reality? So mixed reality is somewhat combination of AR, VR, and where they're using the interaction happening with the both, the world which is VR and as the real world. So you have Microsoft HoloLens and Google Glasses, which made to, you can view this with this gadgets. So in the whole thing, it is called extended reality, XR, AR, VR, and MR. So let's go through once again. So what is VR? So you have created a digital environment and that shut the real world. AR, digital content on top of your real world. And then MR, digital content interacts with your real world. Got it? And here if you see, in this chart, you can able to see one left side is a real environment and the right side is total virtual environment. And the in between, it is actually mixed reality. And the interaction depends on how and what level one can do. Likewise, you have other interactions like gesture recognition interface. You have leap motion where you can do the gestures. Even the Kinect Xbox does the same thing. Haptic technology, whereas you are talking about how things can be tactile feel. So these are used mainly now medical purpose, manufacturing, but soon it will be also, it is research is going on and I think it will become more as a consumable kind of thing also. Now, if I talk about evolution of immersive technology, so let's have another poll now. So in fact, a lot of youngster now already they are into this. So good to see that they have been experienced also AR, VR. So that's nice. I think many of you are acquainted with the digital world and digital interactive things. So that's nice. So let's proceed further. Okay. So we're talking about evolution of immersive technology. So it is what? It is actually basically it's more of a communication. The spoken word or written word, and then it transforming how you communicate with theater, motion picture, film, and then you including the different technology to make it more communication much better. Just go back to the when the cave paintings, they also try to express things. And if you see this, you will find um, this painting must have been, they've tried to capture the motion. That's why you find the legs. Just see the legs. How many legs are there? So they tried to capture the motion and that they wanted to make it static. So likewise, when the documentation happened, that form, that becomes the narratives. And now we talk about like, everybody thinks that, okay, this technology is very new. It's very, just has come and all. But if you see the history, the same kind of thing has been tried out long way back. In 1838, that was a mirror stereoscope. And they tried to create something like it's coming closer to you, coming for the like a 3D kind of aspect. Then they created a stereoscope. So that was 1861. It's quite way back, right? And people have tried all these things. So there was a two prismatic lenses, and then they created a illusion. In 1962, actually, there was Morton Hillig has actually created a sensorama, and it was actually very immersive. It was having, aroma also. There was used to have vibration, wind, so it's like sound. So it was been tried in 1962. Imagine. The first VR headset, it actually happened in 1968. They also tried for gaming, the Sword of Damocles. Ivan Sutherland has actually created that, but didn't become popular. Okay. After that, there's a game happened in 1972, Atari games, which is very popular, and that was actually created in NASA actually. So NASA people, they've tried out and they created this game. Actually, the virtual reality word has been coined in 1987, and was actually a musician, and of course, he was a scientist also. Again, NASA has worked on headset. Then they come out with the CAD with IBM PC and all. Then in 1990, augmented reality word has been coined. And now, of course, it has been more sophisticated, things has been improved. And this day by day, it is changing and increasing, and it is becoming more user friendly. You have also Google Cardboard, you can create yourself. There are wearable devices, Google Glass, Microsoft HoloLens. There are like bangles, you can create wearables. This is a Gartner Hype Cycle. Actually, they research the technology, how much it has been sustained or not. So in the graph, you can see the virtual reality is going to sustain for more time, or even augmented reality. Now, let me talk about what is the different aspects, what are the applications are there. Now, again, I want to do a poll. Can we have another poll? We try to connect how things are impacting in your day-to-day life. So this poll is about that. Let's see. So many people actually thinks that AR, VR is going to impact our life. Good. Nobody said no, right? Okay. So let's see what are the applications we can do with all this immersive media. So how we are using it, like wayfinding, everybody is using GPS, and that can be more immersive, like this one. If you see, even so even if you have your pet can guide you. Looking through the things, it will guide you and find your destination. With also you can get information with augmented reality. Where is your restaurant, or where is your bank, or other things, hospitals. You can just view it, and you can be guided there. Of course, the immersive media also used for agriculture. So agriculture, there are things like for farmers, you can create. Farmers need to know how much is what is the humidity in the air, or the soil is how much humidity is there in the soil. So these can be used with the sensors, and that can be also come to your tab or app, or it can be, so that immersive technology also used there, and it is very useful. Health sector is a big sector where AR, VR is now used, and it is day by day, it has been used for a lot of trainings, training nurses, doctors, even doctors do the surgery. From the distant surgery, it is happening through VR. So, and it has a big market now. And in fact, after COVID also, this has become much major market for immersive technology. Education again, because education is one thing that you need to have engagement, and how to keep the students engaged, and they should learn things much better. So education is another field, is a very demanding field. And right now, again, after COVID, this has been, the market has really boomed actually. Mixed reality it gives you a kind of, if you need a something plumbing help, like what you see here, and somebody from distant, he is guiding to her how the things can be done better. Same way, he is also looking into the weather and all. So you don't need actually a screen or kind of a monitor to see that. So that is immersive technology and media, immersive media. Now, not only that, this can be used even for events sector, where 3D projection mapping can be utilized for enhance your performance art, or it can be enhance your immersive experience. So this is it's very worldwidely it's happening, and it is growing day by day. Again, retail and architecture. So retail sector, like you go for to buy something, and you can try to fit in your the clothes and all. Like IKEA is also doing this kind of promotion with using augmented reality, where you can imagine your room with the furniture itself, and then you buy. In architecture, a lot of use cases are happening with using augmented reality, where you can actually see the, even using the VR also, you can see the your flat much before even they have actually constructed. So you can see you can experience it. Same way, in any simulation domain, if you want to buy a car, if you want to go to the showroom, and then you can actually customize your dashboard, you can change your colors, you can change the material of the dashboard, and even you can have a test drive. Same way, it is also used for the defense area, where they do the simulation for war and practicing the in the uh, in the war domain. Museum and exhibition, this is also can be used very highly, very effectively. You have even there are kids can play with it, and also they will learn. So it has a very interactive and very interesting way of presentation. Again, brand campaigning. So there are things happening. For brand, you have to do the you promotion activity. You get something, you see it on the augmented reality, you can redeem those points. So this is a lot of opportunities for brand campaigning and brand promotion. See this. This is the one is on your left side. The old lady, actually she is from the old age home, and what she is doing, if you can see, if you can imagine, she is actually looking at the arti of Tirupati, you know. And imagine, once you go to Tirupati, it's very difficult to even stay for half a second there. You will be pushed out. And even the old age home people, they know that they're like nobody will even take them to there. So it's a very immersive experience for them, and it's a really working very well, because we think, okay, old people may not be able to customize with the VR set and all, but that's not the case. When it has been tried out, it has actually come out quite nicely. So same way, for any religion, they have been more immersive, and they can get the whole experience of the how this prayer and things are happening. There are kind of a gamification, where Ganesha has been you can every day you can change the dress of Ganesha and or Krishna. So those things are happening nowadays. So we started with the cave painting, and again I'm coming to the cave. So this cave is actually automatic virtual environment. So now you have the whole experience with you, which is surrounded by. So you have six-sided frames, which will have the you are able to see 3D and as well as the immersive experience. What is the trends now? Like AR with the IoT, and it has been used for many for manufacturing, even for the assembly lines. So it has a wide use. And after, especially after pandemic, you see that people have realized the importance, and it has been growing. The market is also growing very much, right from the from the education to anything like retail and everything, which is happening with the more immersive media. And even if there are, like it has been forecasted, like in 2024, they're getting 65 billion revenue for DigiCapitals. So that's the world we are actually right now, and we are actually looking forward to it. So now, Soumya sir, hello.
Yeah, hi sir.
Yes. Hi. So with me, Soumya is here. Okay, let's have another poll. Can we have another poll? Yeah. And I'll switch to Soumya sir, and we'll go to him and we'll talk to him. Oh wow. So everybody knows this answer. Very good. Soumya, I'm talking about, like, see, we have seen this, how the VR has been grown and things like that. Now, from your point of view, I'm sure and you are from the industry and you've been doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
So we want to hear from you, how was your journey and what was industrial use case for VR?
Yeah.
Please.
So, sir, frankly speaking, there are a lot of use cases that are actually not outside of India, but in India that are being implemented. If you ask me, VR is a technology where most of the VR technology currently focused on three aspects. If you see, there are basically three aspects. One is your vision, and then sound, and it also captures the haptics, which is touch, right? So if you see, industry-wise, if you ask me, there are a lot of scope in gaming. Apart from gaming, healthcare is the biggest industry. In India also, as a company, we also have implemented a lot of solutions in healthcare. Engineering is the next big thing. So manufacturing, that is something which is traditionally they used to have a lot of processes which used to be very complex. Now, what happens now is the people are trying to come up with different solutions which can automate the manufacturing industry. So I'll come up with the examples. I'll show you the examples which our company has done it in the past, and I'll also tell you how exactly I've done it. But yeah, let me run you through the thing. This is how you can design the different solutions, and this is a healthcare example. Then also, this is one of the project that we have done. It's where we try to detect faults with the existing manufacturing components in a particular setup, and that guided the whole automation process over there. These are a few examples where industry is currently using AR and VR. Yeah, I think you have covered a lot of examples before I spoke. I think that's my point of view. So if you ask me what our company has done,
Yes,
let
yes.
me present you that.
So I think, yeah, you talk about your project and thing like that, because that's a real project and you are actually going to have a lot of insight with that. So
Yeah. Let me do that. So see, our company, we started this company in 2016, early 2016, and then as a company, what we try to do is we try to build training systems with VR. We try to build training and assessment platform on VR. And then, if you ask me, what is the USP, we try to make the training easy, learn, and uh, easy to learn, fun, and at the same time, we try to remove the accidental. If somebody is doing some activity which is very crucial for their operations, we try to uh, increase the productivity. At the same time, we try to increase the safety in the whole process. Because of that, training cost reduces, training time reduces, accident reduce happen, productivity also increases. And you see, these are few examples that we have deployed in India, which is Schneider's Electric, where we have deployed one of our VR solutions. And then we build basically equipment-based training systems. We build in the logistic industry. We build different training systems. Personal training also we do. Then safety training also we do. So apart from that, equipment also we build simulators. We also build equipment understanding. So let's say there is a complex equipment which need to be maintenance engineer need to understand what exactly is going on. So we also build.
The non-conventional projects, I think you must be having a lot of challenges also. So you can share the screen and you can show that.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. So we build those kind of different products we build. So if you ask me about particularly challenges, let me take you through one of my projects, which we have done, in the early 2017 and around June, July. So let me show that. So I think you'll be able to relate it to the students will be able to relate it to the projects, what we have done, how we have done, and then I can share what are the challenges that we face over there. So it was a project. This basically the company called Manganese Ore India Limited. It is a PSU. And the project was it was a typical industrial setup. It was a typical old industrial setup. You can see this is the equipment which they wanted to. So what happened? This equipment was causing a lot of accident, and this is the only equipment which is actually responsible for transport of material and man from surface to underground. Okay, let me give a context to the whole process. So in the underground mining, what happens? You excavate mining material from underground, which is actually 1,000 meters down the earth, inside earth, and then you bring those material outside of the mine and then dump it on the surface. So that is what generally happens, right? So how does that process basically happens? They bring the material from the underground through a lift. It's a big lift. Basically, capacity is more than 2 to 3 tons, and then they dump it on the surface. So now a person operates the one person who and there are multiple levels. It's not a single level there. So there are multiple layers of mining. So you do not get the ores at a single point. You have to go take multiple levels. So what happens now when this person operates the person actually sits outside the mine and then he operates the equipment. So now what happens if you see this person doesn't have any understanding where exactly the lift is. He has a virtual so he operates like this and he has a virtual
so share your screen, no? You can show the presentation.
I think I have shared the screen, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. 1 minute. Sorry, I think I missed.
No, you didn't share the.
I was showing it, but okay. Can you see it?
Yeah, now we can see. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Actually, I was presenting, but I didn't know that it's not. So this is a typical industrial setup, and what we did is they asked, so this is a typical machine where the operator actually sits. This is the operator's cabin. And then, okay, so this was the operator's cabin, and then this was the operator's cabin, and then, sorry, this was the operator's cabin where operator sits and operates, and he doesn't know where exactly the lift is. He generally looks at this whole your marking system and try to gauge that where exactly the lift is, and then he ballparks the position of the lift. So the problem here is he doesn't have a real-time feedback what exactly is going on. So now because of this, there is a lot of accident used to happen in the industry. And because there are a lot of people going inside it, then this is the only way of getting out of the whole process, getting out of the whole mining, underground mine. If something happens, the operation will stop for a long time. There are a lot of production loss. There will be a lot of safety issues. Then a lot of regulation will, regulatory body will actually give a lot of notice to the people, and because of that, also a lot of production loss. Strikes will happen if somebody dies. So it's a very crucial operation for the whole underground mining operation. So the challenge they gave us was to build a simulator which can help the operators to build to get trained on the this equipment before they even start operating it in real time. So that was similar to that we were given the order. So we tried to understand what was the context. We did a primary research. We understood what was how do they actually go about the whole process. We studied the whole ecosystem over there, and then we tried to model it. Then that was the more like a UX research work that we did there, and then we tried to understand what was the process that was going inside. We tried to break down those things into multiple parts. We tried to each understand what are the process. Then we understood few things. What are the mistakes that people are doing? Why this is happening? You can see these are the red marks that we figured out. Okay, because of this research, primary research that we did with this on site, we could figure out these are the problems, right? Then what we did is we tried to understand, okay, where exactly try to understand different ecosystem for the people involved in this process, why this the problem is, and this is more like a pure UX research work, which is needed if you want to build a complete
understand the user
solution which can solve a problem, immersive experience which can solve the problem, real life problem.
Yeah.
So then we created a persona which based on what is the kind of person who is there and how he basically what is the pain point, what exactly is their goal. Then the simulation and the creation of the 3D part started. Then we created a virtual experience. This is the virtual thing that we created with 3D modeling and texturing, lighting. Then we understood the ergonomics. We studied the ergonomics, how ergonomics plays into place here, and then we built the experience interactions over there. Then try to build a simulators there. So that is what we built. So this is one of other projects where we have built other simulators. So I'll just play the video. I think people can actually relate how exactly your VR solutions looks like in industry, not in outside of India, but in India. So
Very nice.
yeah,
Mm.
this is the processor that we generally, this is how we build. This is what exactly we are as a company doing.
So what was your journey? Because you're from engineering background, right? How you came to this
Yeah,
very short way you can.
yeah. So journey started in 2016. So we started this company to build solution which can actually. So as a person, we were fascinated about, as a team, we are fascinated about how to make learning very effective and fun, entertaining. So that was something which was very motivating for us, and we started understanding what was the problem. We started understanding how things work, and then we started learning, sir. It was a complete learning, self-learning process as a company. All of the founders, like three of us, are friends, and from the college itself, we started learning things by our own. We learned user experience. So VR is a mixture of every technology. We understood product design, we understood user experience design, we understood your psychology, you understood your sociology, what exactly, how do you interview people, how do you talk to, how do you get the data. There are a lot of aspects to it. So we learned them one by one. We created a different pipelines, and then started building the whole product. And then eventually the product became better and better and better. So I feel it's not a big deal. If we can do it, anybody can do it. But yeah, it's a learning process, and eventually everyone has to.
I think it's an amalgam of everything, and that's why, and this our course also, the immersive media design, we trying to keep all the components because it is required for executing such kind of, and because it is a purposeful, so we have to have function as well as how things will be helpful to the user. That is what we are talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so in fact, I would also want to talk about my students, how we are doing as a immersive media design.
Yeah. Please, sir. Please,
Yeah.
you can tell us what exactly you guys are doing as a
Right. Let's,
department, how students are doing things. So
yeah,
that will be
we'll do
helpful.
that.
Yeah.
I'll just show it. So I think you have to share,
Stop sharing,
your
right? Okay,
screen.
yeah.
I'll go back to my, this thing. So as we talking about, very nice, Soumya sir has shown you what kind of project, and you can see the what kind of the things you described there. So I'll just go very fastly, and I want to talk about what we are doing in the immersive media design. Okay. So as immersive media, when we talk about, it's obviously there's so much of knowledge, and okay. Yeah, can you, yeah. So can you see the screen? Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm talking about when you talk about the amalgam, so it has a IMD, which is immersive media, which has AR, VR computing, physical computing, IoT, sensory, gestural, haptics, 3D projection mapping, and etc. etc. But we are taking the inputs of other things, which is like animation, taking inputs of UI UX, taking inputs of film and video, as well as we're talking about system design, and there are a lot to be. So if you understand any kind of technology, anything if you talk about technology, it makes the business viable, right? And
Yeah.
how to create the
Absolutely.
medium.
Yeah.
Okay,
True.
but how to use that, that's where the designer's roles comes, and that's why the design is very important to keeping that loop, right? So this is, I've created this thing which you can help, it will help to understand also. So you have a design applications, like we talked about so many things, health sector, we talk about education, we talk about manufacturing sector, we talk about futuristic research, business model, events, and everything. And one side it is a technology, what are kind of technology, and other side it's the discipline, the different various discipline, the visual design, data visualization, UI UX kind of thing. So all this, making it to happen, motion graphics, some basic of cinematography. Okay. And there was a report happened in 2018. John Maeda is a is a design come, is a technologist both. So he has created this report, and he said that another 10, there will be 10 emerging trends now will be impact on design, like augmented reality, virtual reality, AI, machine learning, 3D printing. So this is now becoming the core, and in the near future, this is going to be the real as a perspective for the career.
Yeah.
So as immersive media design, if you see what are we at having courses, so I'll just give a glimpses of that. So there is like we giving importance to the narration, anything you need to require when you like you taking this headset for 45 seconds, you don't know what to do, it looks very gimmicky, looking nice, feeling very good that okay, you can look up, you can think things are happening in the side way, in the back also, but after 45 seconds nobody knows what to do. So for that, you need to have a narratives, unless you have a storytelling in that, your things can't be engaged. So this is one very important course, and we do it very differently and very creatively. Actually, the students perform the things, they understand the physical essence of tactile, aroma and everything, including that. Of course, there are principle of designs, which is one has to learn about that, and that helps them a lot. Then we talk about form and space. We talk about in virtual space, but before that, they have to do physically, create the model and understand the form and space. Then, of course, user research, like Soumya sir has just now showed in his, in his work, that how much he has done research with the user. So this is for the user research methodology, one has to understand. Then of course, there are other things like typography, even typography for the virtual environment, one has to understand. Data visualization is another good part and very important part. And this is because after like few years, this has a plenty of requirement, demanding, it's a very demanding thing. System design one has to learn, because they have to see in a very holistic what kind of purposeful or the problem area they can understand. And then of course there are courses which is exploring technology and AR, VR and all. And then we do have a lab. We have a small lab, which is we are having HTC Vive. We have having a Oculus Go. We have also Leap Motion in MIT ID. There are some examples I'm giving. There are VR projects have been done for to learning in the skill for the joineries. Then there are projects have been done like this is gaming, but it has a purpose.
So sir, are these projects are students projects, or like
these are all students projects. These are all student projects. Okay. Soumya sir, I think there is some marker has come on the frame. Can you remove it?
I think someone has.
Okay, no problem. Let it be, no problem. I think. Anyway, so there is a tangible VR experience projects. Okay. And here the rhinoceros is actually killing the guy who's poacher. And they are saving the trees. So it is a very opposite twist. This is again a student project where they're making it to how to learn driving with using also tangible computing. This is an AR project which is to learn origami, and how in the kid can learn themselves with the using of AR. I'll just play the video also. end, there's a pop-up of cat happens as a 3D. Then there's a IoT AR experience where they can see the prices. You know, there are like offers coming up in the shoe showroom, and as you pointed your camera and the mobile, you will able to see the price tag coming up.
Yeah.
This is another, actually my student, she had done a, during this COVID session, there was a student design competition, and she had to create a futuristic cafe. And this is her work, and this has been selected among there were 6 of them from worldwide. They have selected and presented in AR VR Global Summit. So that's quite an achievement. This is another project, even the same girl only. She has created a plastic waste collection and social impact for that. It's a kind of a tangible computing, and this has been displayed in Milano Design City in the museum.
Nice.
Right. Then there's another project. This was a graduation project. It has been done for Inspirit, and for the higher education for the school education, but in the higher level, 9th, 10th,
8, 9, 10.
yeah,
Secondary education.
K-12 session, and this is done for the abroad thing. So they have, this is also very nicely done. She had worked on different subjects also, physics, biology, and I think chemistry. Yeah. Then this is another project which is for Dassault system, and they have created for the exhibition. And there was a chassis of the car, and then developed the whole thing, and they have shown the different permutation combination.
So, sir, I just like to stop you here. I'm curious, little bit curious. You said the Dassault system. So, how the student project is related to the Dassault system?
No, they have gone for the, we are having a system for the internship, so they have gone for the internship. Okay. And that was the thing.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So here, I think okay, you just continue, then I'll ask you one more question.
Yeah, because I think we have to also move it fast, because already we are getting 12, right?
Yeah. So you said the Dassault system is giving internship. So what are the different companies who are actually coming who are engaging the student and recruiting them?
I'll talk about it. I'll just talk about it. I'll just let me finish this. I'll just want to finish it, and then I'll talk about this. Yeah. So this is another project. Is for the autism kid. We created it's again with the sensors, and there's a therapy of music, as well as you can see the art forms are coming on the picture. So this will help the kid. Actually, this is a compilation of the student work only, so we can just go through. It might help. No, play. Tangible sensor. Okay. So I'll just quickly tell you this thing. I will come to your question also. So what we are looking as a skill set, but who can apply for this, right? So you are able to see that there are so many vast gamut of the things, and there are different kinds of things. So what we need is just a passion to learn new things, and you should have a knack for digital, little bit interest on play with coding, but don't think coding is very important that you have to learn know coding. You should not hesitate for coding, because we are teaching coding also. And it's also don't create that mindset, because it's only just a word, it's a need a logical thinking, that's all. So one should not hesitate with that. You need to have a good observation skill. And obviously, this whole thing we are talking about open to also learn new softwares. And we also peer learnings. We are having the students from different backgrounds. In fact, my students are from one is from three. We are a small group, so three of them is from engineering, one is from architecture, another from its pure animation background, another is from fine arts background. And they are doing very well. Even the fine arts guy is doing nice coding and all. So, and that's why it will work. We have a that kind of system that they do learning and all. So as an industry, like Soumya sir, what I'm talking about, we just now, just only 2 years we started. We have connected to this kind of industry, including yours, and my students is going to you also for internship. So we have a system that in the final year we have an internship. So Dassault system is already they have done last year. Then one of my students joined the Semtrex company. Siemens has offered, Accenture also have offered. So we are looking very positive. Deloitte also has offered. So we are very positive, and I think this is growing very much better. And this is a promising field for anybody like you guys. So yeah, now I'll just also play one video.
Hi, I'm Shreya Bansal, and in my bachelor's I've done fashion communication, after which I was working in an advertising agency. While working there, I was really much interested into how I can enhance a user experience. That's where I wanted to do masters, and I came across this amazing course called IMD, Immersive Media Design. So I was really interested by the combination of design, technology. It's a really good combination of them, and IMD, a course, is very interdisciplinary, and it gives you a freedom to try and explore a lot of different things. So one of my projects was about under tangible computing. I created a gesture-based vending machine, and that was actually displayed in Milan Design Week. I had taken part in a competition, RO Plastic Prize 2020. So the whole idea there was to design a very intuitive kind of a user experience for the user. So whenever a small child also wants anything, so he just simply points, "Ki, I want this." So imagine a vending machine like this where you just point stuff and you get the thing out. It is so magical. So that was one of my really good projects which got a lot of recognition. Also, I had taken part in a VR AR global design competition. So the brief there was about designing a 3D space post-COVID. So I designed a cafe, and the whole idea behind it was how we can achieve a lot more what we are doing right now in cafes, and create a whole entertainment and a co-working space keeping the safety norms of COVID. So that was a really good project, and I was one of the 6 finalists. And the best part was that I got to interact with a lot of global designers online. So that was a really good experience. I feel VR AR is the most upcoming and the new technology, and you have a lot of scope in it. and the variety of industries that are getting into VR AR, that is really amazing. So we have healthcare, we have automotive industry, we have the whole of gaming and the entertainment industry which is entering into it. So it's wide scope, and I believe we all could do amazing things in it. And be it design or be it technology, like whatever your background is, you're really welcome here, I guess. Creativity is you, and immersive media design is the future.
My name is Sunil Chahal and I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. After that bachelor's degree, I started working as a technical writer, and over there I got introduced to working in head-mounted displays, which is mixed reality. But while I was working over there, I faced a lot of difficulties and I didn't understand what is important and what is not. So I sort of started looking online where I could learn like a course or something like that. But I got introduced to a recently developed course by MIT ID, which is Immersive Media Design. And I really wanted a space where I could learn but also explore a lot. So that's how I got into MIT ID. When I was coming to IMD, I had few expectations of learning about XR designing and spatial designing, about virtual reality and augmented reality. But when I visited over here, it is much more about engaging the user into an interaction. When we learned about IMD, we dived into spatial design. We learned about how typography works in virtual spaces and how we can actually create an engaging system with the user along with affecting the whole system around surrounding it. Currently, I'm working on a simulation project, and it is a virtual reality course. So I am creating a simulation for a drone where you can actually take your drone and learn about drone controlling and everything. If I have to talk about immersive media design, we are exploring a lot of possibilities on how to provide a greater user experience to our users.
Hi, I'm Abhimanyu, and I have a bachelor's in applied arts, and I had my past experiences with animation. I worked with animation studios as a character animator. I got into immersive media design because of my curiosity towards technology and futuristic innovations. So I was very interested in technologies. I wanted to explore tangible computing as well as VR, AR. So that's how I got into the masters. The faculty over here really pushed me forward to explore different technologies. Like I was very hesitant towards coding, but the faculty introduced coding to me in such a way that I could really code my projects, and I could really see the outputs by myself, like creating it by myself. One of my projects in tangible computing was for autism kids, where I created an interactive audio and video interactive installation, which kids could interact with and create immersive art out there. So I feel the future is for immersive media, because as the pandemics have happened and the changes which are happening around us, we are moving towards something which the audience need to get a lot more engaged into. They need to get immersed into it, and every application, every product is carrying that aspect out there. And I feel the future is all about immersiveness.
Hi, my name is Rohan Chitale, and I'm an immersive media designer, currently in the last semester of immersive media design, studying at MIT Institute of Design. What I have learned here at immersive media design is the design process, which has helped a lot in developing VR solutions. VR as a field is really very emerging in the last 5 years, and in the future also it will emerge at a very large scale, and even the new companies like Accenture, IBM and Apple are picking up on VR and AR stuff. So the students who are looking forward to design should also look forward to immersive media design as a career.
Hi, I'm Nikita Suvarna, and I'm currently pursuing my master's in immersive media design. I have done my bachelor's in product design, after which I worked as a UX designer for 2 years at a design firm in Bangalore, after which I decided to come to MIT to learn immersive media design. The reason why I chose immersive media is, while I was working, I learned that there was a big shift in the content and the advancement of technology. So I felt that's the place where I want to be and where I could contribute. So in order to enhance my skills and my design processes and to learn about the new technology, I chose to study immersive media design. After coming to MIT, I learned a couple of interesting courses and various other courses which helped me learn the process and enhance my skills, which are helping me design better environments. And since I've always had a passion to understand how people interact with one another and the other environments, this has just been a very creative experience altogether. Being an immersive media designer is going to help me design better for the people and create very engaging experiences for them. This in turn is going to be a new way of how people are going to lead their lives in the future, because right from work to education to how they are going to interact with people, all of this is going to change in the future. So this is where I stand and take a chance as an immersive media to design for the people.
Okay, so I mean, there are a lot many things, but I think, of course, the time crunch is also there. So as I told you, it has a this kind of a future demanding and all, and I'm sure you also realize that so many things one can do and you can do. So this is our that admission details and all. And I think now we can take some questions if somebody is.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Questions. We'll take questions.
Yeah, I have a question to ask.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me,
So
tell me.
I wanted to first ask that is it really necessary to be good at drawing? I mean, coding, so everybody is made it evident that it's okay, you always teach us coding, but what about drawing and designing?
Drawing. See.
Drawing, yeah, sketching,
Yeah. See the thing.
storyboards and all.
Okay. See, the thing is, when we talk about drawing, see, any design education, you need to communicate. Okay. So it doesn't make that you have to have a very fine drawing skill and all. Okay. So don't worry about the drawing. If you have the imagination, if you have the creativity, don't hesitate. And if you can even explain with the stick figures also, that is fine. The drawing is not the criteria. We are looking into your imagination and your creativity. So yeah, you don't feel okay, you don't know drawing. I mean, a lot of engineering students here also, they come with they don't have much skill of the drawing, but they pick up the things because we have the peer learning, right?
So can I take this question, sir?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So Charvi, right?
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah. So what happened, if you see, my background, I'm a civil engineer, and I don't know how to draw. If you ask me, can I build an immersive experience? Definitely I can do. So the point here is, you need to draw that much where you have to able to communicate your idea to someone who is developing, right? Whether you do it through pictures, you can take different icons from online and then put it on a paper, and otherwise you can also very roughly we can draw. Just need to communicate your idea. That's it. That's the only idea. If you're thinking that design is something very hi-fi drawing, it's not hi-fi drawing. It's not art. It's something you're trying to create, and for that you don't need a drawing at all. I'll not say drawing at all. You have to communicate your thought process. That's it. That's the only requirement.
Yeah.
Okay. And so to apply for this course, I mean, there is this entrance, I guess, DAT, MIT DAT. So does it include mathematics? I mean, I don't think.
I mean, those details you can ask the admission people also. So that's not a problem. But yeah, I mean, you have to give the aptitude test. Yeah. Okay.
Sir, may I ask you one question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, this course which you have discussed just now is a master's in design, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So do you have even the bachelor's in the same immersive course?
No, no, not yet. We haven't started yet. We started first masters, and then we'll see how. Uh,
Okay, because whenever I was observing this video, at that time I felt ki the people who are coming from different backgrounds
yeah.
and then they are going ahead with the masters. If you are introducing the bachelor's itself, then you will be getting the better, like students will be getting better opportunities. Don't you feel that?
No, no. See, what we are saying, we just started, and I'll tell you another thing. Nowhere in India such kind of a courses available. Nobody is doing it. This is the first time we
Yeah.
have started, and we started as masters. We'll see in the future. Definitely, we'll see that we can also do the bachelors. Yeah.
Okay. Are there availability of these courses in the bachelor's in abroad?
No, abroad, see, there are only very limited one. Like I'll tell you, even MIT lab, they have these courses which is like only for VR or only for AR, and that is also very smaller duration and all. So we are doing a very holistic way. You are actually learning so many things here. So that way it
Okay.
is not there. It's very specific courses are there.
So as per your experience, which field if the student have taken before, like architecture students, as you said, ki fine art students also you had.
Yeah,
So which course if they have done before is going to complement this masters?
no, no. So that is why I'm saying there's nothing that one particular course. You have like all of them. We are taking a small group actually. So in that small group also we have like combination. It is like engineering, architecture, then fine arts. So I'm not able to say okay, this course only will come here. No, nothing like that.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yes, sir. I had one more question. So, is there a placement cell after like graduation? Like usually colleges have they start placements right before the last semester. So, how
Yeah.
is the functionality of placement for this course?
Yeah. So we are getting a very good responses. See, that's what I told you, na? Just within 2 years, we got a full, like my internship, all the students, they got the internship projects. And even from the industry side, they are very happy because they need this. There is a gap for this actually. Technology wise, maybe they are maybe good. They are able to utilize the technology, but as a designer's perspective, there is still scarcity, and people require this kind of immersive media designer in the industry. So placement is also happening good. What else?
Also, how many students do you all have per batch? I mean, like maximum.
So we are open to like 10 to 15 students, but let's see. It depends on the response also, how much many people are also coming. So yeah, but we don't want a very big number. So we are very selective in that process. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. There's one more question. How many years would it take for India to make AR VR? Actually, India is already, it's not that India is not doing. There are a lot of things are happening in India itself. And we are also doing, making another HoloLens. There's in Mumbai, another group is making the VR set actually. So India is already making it. This is a very initial stage, but definitely as the industry is also growing, industry is also learning, we are also learning, we are actually evolving, and after another 2 years, there will be huge demand for this, right?
So, sir, what are your views on Geo Glass that's coming up?
Geo, see, I can't say exactly because it hasn't come yet. And Geo is also claiming that it's an AR glass, but I have a doubt about it, how much it is AR. But it might be having some feature. Okay, so
No, I
can't
guess
comment on it.
they are calling it a MR glass because
So that is what I'm saying. I can't comment on it unless it has come to the market. I don't want to comment on it. Yeah. Okay. What will be the impact of immersive media on graphic design and UI UX design? So, are you talking in terms of courses, or are you talking about in terms of as a profession?
Yeah, I mean as a profession, as of what it would impact on what people serve
Okay.
in these days.
So what is happening is there is another aspect is like which we also including it is in the courses we are also having input of AI. Okay, so AI is again it's a very vast field, but AI and AR and VR it's combining, it's becoming a kind of a future. So I mean, see, there will be more opportunities, and even the graphic design or UI UX people also they are proceeding into this immersive media. I mean, what is happening that AI can do the UI part, but UX is actually required to one has to do. So there are more opportunities are coming, and slowly it is moving towards this. Okay. Okay. Why are they only used in medical domain? No.
Yeah, moreover, like why were the initial stages started with the medical domain as well? Like why weren't they used in other aspects, like just as the factories and all? They must be needing the
No,
most.
they are using it. They are using like I showed you, no? I showed you that they are using with IoT. They are using the in the pipeline when you have a assembly lines. Imagine assembly lines. Okay, in assembly lines, what happens is one has to maintain the every aspects of even temperature or the other things. And in the assembly lines, in a manufacturing, if the assembly line somewhere, if something got faulty or something happened, then they have to stop the whole assembly line, and that actually causes a lot of loss. So what do you do with using AR? With AR technology and with the using with the app, what we can figure out where exactly this problem area has come without even stopping the machine totally. That whole pipeline. So they can identify okay where exactly it happened, and then they can figure it out whether it can be rectified there or itself or no. So this is a very helpful, and this is happening. This is people are using in the manufacturing, in the automation. There people are using for the simulation projects and things like that. So it's not only health sector. Yeah, I said health sector is another big market for this. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, of course. Somebody asked for the tourism. Yeah, tourism is another aspect people are actually exploring, and it is also very promising because one is I will also tell you within during this COVID, people have given a kind of a tour for the zoo, and they created a total 360 view of the zoo, and you can actually feel it that you visited the zoo. So likewise, the tourism is another one can see as a application of this, and it is there. It is already there. Yeah.
But then how would it affect the population or the way things work right now? I mean, it's supposed to be some people have livelihoods based out of it, no? So how will it affect the Indian market as well? I know it's a
I mean,
tough
that's
question.
another question, and that's a very debatable question. But yeah, see, what I also want to tell you that in this course, we are also trying to learn the impact of the technology into social and the our the traditional life also. Why? Because every technology has pros and cons, right? So we do have in this course also we have things like how this is going to affect in the future. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fine. I think we have a little short of time, and let's take again poll, and we'll afterwards, yeah, let's have another next poll. It is saying not used for. Augmented reality not used for. Yeah, so one more poll is there, right? One more question is there. That is one easier one. I'm sure so far whosoever is attentive, they will do it. Yeah. Yeah. So it was quite nice. All of you have like attended and made an effort to listen to us. I will want to ask Soumya sir to just talk about little futuristic, and then we can close it because already we have extended the time.
Yeah. So a lot of people here said that mixed reality is something. The correct answer is mixed reality, and I could see few people are saying that measured reality. So that is that is not the right answer. But yeah, going ahead. If you ask me where exactly the industry is moving towards, I will like to show you few hardwares which people are now building in this space, which you will definitely appreciate, because those are the futuristic thing, and that definitely takes some time. They're in the research state. It will take some time for them to land in the consumer market. Already they are in the B2B sector, but to land in the consumer market, it will take some time. But let me show you that. Fine. So this is a haptic glass, which haptic touch controller, which is coming up. People are using it for robotics, and there is one more technology which is coming up. Let me show you that as well. Two more technologies has actually, which is.
We can't see the video.
1 minute, sir. 1 minute. I'll present it. I've not started the presentation.
Okay. We'll try to conclude it. Okay.
Yeah.
What if instead of having your eyes glued to your phone all day, the information you want from your phone could somehow come to your eyes? That's the idea behind Mojo Vision's prototype smart contact, the Mojo Lens. I had an opportunity to briefly demo the device and some related prototypes, and it definitely felt like a preview into the future of wearable tech. I couldn't actually put the device in my eye because contact lenses need to be FDA approved, and the Mojo Lens is still working on that. In the first demo, I held the Mojo Lens up to my eye, looked at a video loop, and I saw text. Small, green, easily readable text. Subtitles for people speaking different languages, heart rate info for exercising, and the score of a sports game. Seeing these text blurbs was a bit of a surprise to me because my eyes can't focus on anything that close. The reason it works is because that tiny monochromatic green display focuses the light for you, right onto your retina. For the next demo, I entered a dark room and was presented with another prototype. When I held this one up to my eye, it generated green outlines around various objects in the room. I could read signs and see people's facial expressions I couldn't see without the device. Beyond that awesome ability to essentially see in the dark, Mojo Vision says its Mojo Lens will also help people with low vision conditions, such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, or retinitis pigmentosa, see in greater detail. The last demo I tried was on an eye-tracking VR headset. I was able to navigate to invisible menus just by moving my eyes into different corners of my periphery. I played, paused, and skipped music, saw weather and traffic reports, and read text that scrolled to keep pace with the movement of my eyes. Basically like a teleprompter in your eyeball. The prototypes I saw were wirelessly powered, but Mojo Vision says they're working on building the batteries into the device around the eye, along with other processing instruments, which will be hidden under an artificial iris. Ultimately, Mojo Vision is aiming for what it calls invisible computing, a smart contact lens that you can wear all day that looks like your real eye, with menus that you can navigate with eye tracking and object detection. It's not hard to imagine looking up words while you're reading, getting directions while walking in a new place, or seeing subtitles for different languages in real time. To me, this kind of wearable design sounds like it could strike a nice balance between clunky AR glasses and invasive brain implants like Neuralink, where the technology is so small it becomes nearly imperceptible, but you can still take it out whenever you want. We're still probably years away from that reality, but I hope you enjoyed getting a glimpse of it. I know I did. Would you wear smart contact lenses?
This is a new technology that is coming up. Hello, sir, you are mute.
So I think it was a really nice and we had a little bit longer session. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And any question you have, you can directly contact to our admissions section, and we will also provide you the answers. So now for time being, I think we can have another session also later on. Let's have. Okay then. Bye then, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, Soumya sir.
Thank you.
So we'll leave.